digitalization has been very crucial and effective. One, in terms of communication, resourcing or searching for information over the internet, and then communication, which I mentioned, and as well as just improving the processes of working in terms of especially keeping the records and so for transactional purposes. And then secondly, my capacity as a youth leader in the Kenya YMCA, I think we've been able to train most young people because we focus largely on youth empowerment or development. We've been able to train young people on digital skills. We've imparted knowledge in them to see to them that they're able to improve whatever they're producing, whatever they are seeking to do in terms of income generating activities. At least they're able to use perhaps the digital platforms to showcase their skills and whatever income generating activities they do. And to add to that, for us as Kenya MCA will be having a summit next week on Friday. We are calling it the Africa Future Summit, which will be technology based. So it's something we've had yesterday. We were in South Africa and the other day. So part of the starting of next week will be in Ethiopia, and then on Friday will be in Kenya. So I think with the digitalization that even for young people, it's an awesome platform.
Why I have to appreciate the digitalization is that I now hold a membership of around 240,000. Now, managing 240,000 without digitalization, it's a nightmare. These are people where quite often, because we have partners who usually want to come and interact with the informal sector players on a daily basis. So, membership subscription itself, you cannot reach out to these people physically. So we've made it easy for someone to subscribe online. Someone can get about Caseta, your services. If he feels that you have the values that you want, he subscribes. I get emails online where I do respond. And then when it comes to publicity or communication, as Stephen just mentioned, for any particular meeting or training, I must look at participation of more than 300 people. Now, to reach to this participation, you cannot have one-on-one mobilization. You have got to use the digital era. Secondly, if you have, for example, let me say IREN is one of my partners. When he sponsors you, he expects returns or benefits. And in most cases, this is the feedback that he wants. Now, we have got to make sure that for any activity that we do with our partners, we make it public, we promote it, and this partner is able to get feedback. Even if someone reads about IREN from my database, from my website, Mr. James is able to acknowledge that, yes, this guy linked into my website, but through Caseta. And so there I'm adding value. Okay? Then maybe the last one is about how we do. If you go to Uganda and you're business oriented, if you go to Google, we must have a search engine whereby you need any business support, any business assistant, any information, then the search engine should immediately bring you Caseta. Okay? That's how we've made things easy. So, on behalf of the private sector and the informal sector in Uganda, we highly embrace digitalization. Thank you.
First of all, we do teach online nowadays. For example, for postgraduate students, the master students, they don't need to come to the class because we use a platform called Moodle. In Moodle, you put the syllabus there, you put the slide there, you record your lecture and upload the video clip there. Now, then, why should you come to class if everything available online? You know, when you come class physically, you listen at me, then you can't rewind, isn't it? But if you have a video clip in a Moodle, then you can rewind and listen several times. You can do your exercise, the assignments, everything in the Moodle. Therefore, you don't need to come to class. But I want to share with you on how our students are harnessing the power of technology to do informal business. Most of our students at the college, they do business. They do sell the clothes, they sell the mobile phone accessories, they sell each and everything. They use simple tools, Instagram and WhatsApp in a starter section. They put the products which they are selling there together with contact address. Therefore, they get orders from different people. You see, one of my students on a bachelor degree in marketing, actually she's paying school fees herself, and she is using it to support even her parents at home. She's making cakes and some buys and sell online. The platform she's using is the Instagram, the normal Instagram, not Instagram for the business. And the normal WhatsApp, not the WhatsApp for business. Putting on the status. They sell without paying anything. And every day, more and more students are engaging in these types of business. That's why, for example, next week from Monday, I'm going to teach a course called Digital Entrepreneurship to the students. Within a single day, we got 100 students registered. Even here, I'm asking myself, how will I be able to manage them? Only one day after being advertised, 100 students registered for a course. Perhaps today they are 300. Therefore, technology is power. It is creating employment. It has a lot of opportunities. There are some challenges, you see, but the opportunities are more than challenges. People can make money, even yourself, you can make money out of your formal employment by using technology. You know, when you're using technology, you don't need to hire a room. You don't need, let's say, to go for a permit and whatever. You put on WhatsApp, on Instagram, you make money.
My contribution would be that digitalization is playing a very big role for the informal sector, and the main reason is that most informal sector businesses are using digital platforms to market their goods. You find that the informal sector is mainly manufacturing things like materials which are really needed in our daily use, and the digital platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, and WhatsApp are used as the main platforms whereby they can market their products.
Digitalization is here to stay with us, and where I stand, it has helped us to communicate to our clients. For instance, the IREN Growth Pad platform, which now is a mobile application that we use to reach out to our clients. So that is one. Secondly, it has also helped us to manage the data that we collect. This is through the customer relations, it's called the CRM, which helps us to manage the very many data that we collect in terms of the users, any feedback that they give us. So that is secondly. And lastly, as Ivy has said, it helps us to market the services and products that we have to the public. And lastly, technology has helped us to actually give employment or provide employment to the youths and to the informal sector. Thank you.
In my introduction, or in my profile, you can see that I'm a managing editor of an online magazine. a platform that makes Africans to speak to each other, and therefore that is a form of digitalization. One of the participants who was supposed to come for this forum from Tanzania could not make it. And I asked him, are you really speaking the truth? What has happened? Because you had confirmed you are coming. And then he sent me a video of the place where he was. I think he was on the way, and there's some place, I've just forgotten its name. There are great floods there, and the bridge had been washed away. And he was saying, see, I am in this place here. Digitalization, making things to be very real, giving real-time evidence and all that. So in the magazine which I'm running, we are going through another step where it will be automated. Automated means I can upload even 50 issues to run the whole year, and then just give it the date that, okay, you appear in January, you appear in February, and all that. And then I can do my other business, but that magazine will still be coming out. That is an aspect of digitalization that we are working on. Thank you.
Now, for me, in my case as a researcher, if I want to collect data in Tanzania, I don't have to go to Tanzania. Yeah, I don't have to go there. If I want to collect data in Kampala, I don't have to go there. I only go there if it is necessary. If I'm writing on informal traders, I'll simply Google and see who has done research in this area. And then I establish contact with that person. And then I'll ask him, are you able to help me collect this information? And that's how digitalization and the .com era is making our work very, very easy. So it cuts even on the cost of me traveling there, hiring research assistants to help me do the work there. So the cost normally go down. And actually right now, like as I speak in this country, there is no single government ministry or department that wants to be on social media. Kenya Power, if you know Kenya Power and Lightning Company, at one time they were accused of stealing from Kenyans. And you know how they were convicted? They were convicted in a court of social media, Twitter. And that's how they lost. And they were told, you either shape up or we are going to drive you out. And actually in some areas, people are actually switching to solar energy. So you can see digitalization is going to enhance governance in this region. As our brother here has said, I was surprised to see you are present on social media. Yeah, because that's where Bobby Wine is doing his organizing, isn't it? He's mobilizing people on social media. So actually the president of Uganda has realized that if he's not on social media, he might wake up one morning and find a young man outside Nakasero waiting to chase him out of State House. Or inside already. Or inside already. So you can see it's a good thing. There may be other things that people are doing on social media which are not good, but we cannot run away from it. It is here to stay. And it's dynamic. It is always evolving. It is dynamic. Ever evolving every day. What we need to ask ourselves, as we have just been saying, how do we enhance or make digitalization work for us in our profession? If you are an informal trader, if you are a researcher, if you are an administrator, if you are a trainer, how does social media, how does digitalization make you do your work well? Now, I have heard people say, in some offices, they've said you cannot be on Facebook. Now, for me, I get a lot of information on Facebook, even research papers. If I have published something, I go on Twitter, I put there. Then the next thing I'll see in my inbox, can I please have a sample of your work? Yeah. Checking on quacks. You are claiming you're an expert in this area. Can I see what you have done? Yeah? I know some of us, like my father, is not a fan of Instagram. Not at all. And he will give you a million reasons why he can't be on Instagram, because we normally see wrong things there. So he has formed an opinion there. But depending on what you are looking for on social media, on the net, you will get the information you want to either enhance your work, make it better, learn from other people. But then the issue of patent, intellectual property right, and Message didn't talk about that. How do we ensure that if our sister here is selling her korosho on social media, she's advertising that product, how do we ensure that that product is not stolen by someone who is powerful and then they make it theirs?
Goes back to one of the efforts I mentioned of the skills development. Now, you see, like in Uganda, we have Uganda Registration Services Bureau. But guess what? There are very few people who actually acknowledge what it does. Okay? 3 weeks ago, I'll give this scenario. I have a business person, a trader. He had his trademark. He's in garments. He has a boutique. So he had his trademark. He used to order for his goods in China. But this trademark was not registered with URSB. So what happened? His own employee realized the potential, how the trademark is actually growing. So this employee went behind his boss's back and registered the trademark. So 3 months down the road, we are now in Christmas season. This is when now every other business person is eyeing to make some profits, okay? So now this employee goes to court and sues the boss. The boss couldn't understand about the registration and anything, like the patent rights, the IP. So what happened? The boss was made to actually compensate 500 million to the employee, just because the boss tampered with his own trademark. So even on social media, before you expose your trademark, your product, can you safeguard it? We have many businesses that are not registered. Some of us, we fear to register because I don't know whether KRA does the same. Someone will think, if I register, then the revenue authority will immediately come to me. It's not about that. It's also about your business safety. You understand? People have not acknowledged that you can actually have your business 2-3 years and you have not paid a penny to your IRA because of you have the records. If you submit and you have no profits, who is going to ask for the income tax? You're still growing, okay? So we need to do a lot of sensitization to our people. Business registration is very key. The other day, some of these authorities do frustrate us. The other day, I had a client in office. He was telling me, but CEO, look, I registered this business even before I went for real business. We have those scenarios. You register a business, but you haven't opened up a shop, for example. Okay? Before the year ends, URA is already notifying you to submit your what? And URA does not actually follow up to see, has James actually opened this business? Is it operating? Can he nurture you? So these are some of the inconsistencies that we are having. But the challenge that we have, now like my sister here, if you have a product and you're really doing well online, there are many followers who are looking at you. Not all of them are your clients. Others are schemers. You understand? They want to steal. But look, we even have, like in Uganda, we have policies that are now governing social media and whatever. But even if this policy is in place and your business is not registered, your trademark is not reserved, how are you going to be protected? So my call is even us in the informal sector to take heed of these services.
Because we, as Juma pointed out, some of the areas we focus in, we have an East African, we call it Young Innovators Forum, which brings, let me say, young business owners across the 5 East African countries plus Ethiopia. And we created a platform for them, acceleration trainings, connecting them to investors, and also preparing them to be export-oriented to export to Europe, export to the US, export to the region. And yes, exactly, export within East Africa. Tanzania was a big challenge. I recall one of them with rabbits getting stuck in Namanga. Yeah, so there are those unwritten barriers, because on paper, if you recall in my comments, I said on paper things look good when government says we are doing all this, but in reality there are challenges. And again, coming from the history of our countries, you notice that originally, I think it's Dr. Mary who mentioned, the history was such that the African trader was to be in the periphery, right? And hence the informality. And so we got independence, and what we simply did was to slap English words on top of existing English words, but the mindset of the government still remains almost like the government that was putting Africans in the periphery. So yes, in short, we do have challenges in terms of the non-tariff barriers, but just to share an experience how members of our group went around this was to coordinate with their Tanzanian colleagues. You know, so again, it's a matter of strategy and a matter of digitalization, as we say. So, okay, if you come Kenya, I want to come into Tanzania, and you're facing barriers. But then here you are, you're going to network with your Tanzanian colleagues, and they can also make some bucks out of what you do. Is there a way you can coordinate jointly so that they create that pull aspect so that it's not you pushing inside the, yeah. So that's what they did to try and have their products moving from the Kenyan side to Tanzania. But again, for me, I always look at the long term, because some of these are within a political administration system. You know, the existing administration maybe is not excited, so you have to plan long term as well. And big companies do that as well. Yeah, they'll come waiting for the right time to come in. But networks is the issue. Get a partner on the other end who can really help you navigate some of that entry points. Easy said than done, because how do you get a partner you trust? You know, all this you have to invest to cultivate to get the right partner that you can work with.
And I just deal with you, because you're talking about, we have a huge resource of the youth in the East African countries that are unemployed. Mm-hmm. And one thing I know about them, they're very creative, they're very innovative. Now there are laws that have been passed in some countries, Uganda, Tanzania. Mm-hmm. Some of them, like the anti-pornographic law in Uganda. Mm-hmm. If you post, let's say a bra, you have invented a bra, you post it online, you are chances are you're likely to end up before a magistrate or a judge for promoting pornography. Mm-hmm. Yet you are marketing a product, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Because that product is not in isolation. How do our young people navigate against such regimes or rules?
Yeah, I mean, the exciting thing about technology is that there's a way you can still present the same thing differently. You know, if you, I mean, I don't need to be a graphic designer, but I can still, if you give me that image, I can still present it in another format that still will pass some of those rules. So that to me, that's the sweetness about digitalization, because some of those rules have been formed by legislation that understands things from the current scenario, right? He just told us digitalization is in motion. For example, when you go to buildings where they say no photography, they are assuming you're carrying a big camera and you're taking pictures. Yet nowadays, you don't need to stand anywhere with a big camera taking pictures. You could still be using a pen, or it could be your baton, or you could just be doing like this and you're taking a picture, right? So you see, some of those rules have been set using old, and that's why I talked about the old and the new. The new is very flexible, and so the rules might not catch up with the new. But now, the advice to the young people then would be, of course, the productivity behind what you're posting, because we've just talked about the challenge of merchandising, just trading other people's products, right? If the young people are innovative, we want to see their original product.
Not counterfeiting.
Yeah, you see, the original product, because then that's what we should celebrate and say they're innovative. But if they're simply merchandising somebody else's product, then it's very difficult if I'm an investor to invest in somebody who is just selling somebody else's product, because they can't protect the next step. Yeah, so I wouldn't really be concerned about the issue of the image. And again, you know, this issue of pornography, for example, what you've cited is a controversial point, because if you recall, the image of an African some years back, not even years back, let's go to the north of Kenya. The north.
Very hot.
Very hot, people don't put on cloth. Are you going to say that's pornography? But of course, in the city, if you walked around in the way the Northerners walk, then the Nairobians will be shocked. They'll be saying, what kind of, this guy is going crazy, right? So it's a thin line, and I think it's mostly a value set, I think, which the digital platform somehow is disrupting those kinds of value sets, so that if your community calls this pornography, the other community will be laughing at you, wondering, what is this you're calling pornography? And we've seen this even in, is it Swaziland? Yeah. The king is always having the reed dance, and you know, other communities are wondering what the heck's going on. And for them, that's their culture. So that's a thin line. Only that my underlining point here is that for young people, let's see your product.
If I am advertising, for example, my shoes, okay? Now, why would I get, for example, a lady, she puts on the shoe that I'm advertising, but then the attraction is on other parts that are even not the legs? You get my point? That's why he's actually mentioning it right, that what you will call pornography or any other, instance depends on how you even portray your business. Because we've had these international companies, you will never hear them being blacklisted because they really mind about their images, their brands. You understand? But because we are young, you'll find someone is advertising a watch. Now, when he's advertising this watch, now you'll find a lady, instead of commenting on the watch, because of the way I have portrayed it, he's going to comment on maybe my face. Now, the other policy administrator will actually look beyond the product that I'm advertising and look at the content that these guys are actually commenting about. So we even us as young people, there's something that is missing. Okay, we are misusing these opportunities, and so it leads to these regulators to bring all those policies. Right now, the meeting I've just been telling you about URA, at one time, actually in the morning, they had said they do not want the media because it is really hot, the way I organized it. But I just called the commissioner and told him, do not burden yourself. The media is already inside. I have guys that went in just with specs, like this, and they are recording with specs. Now for him, he expected these big cameras, as he's just mentioning. Now after 2 hours, he called in media guys and said, Aber, let all the media guys come in now. They do what they want. Simple. So we also have to tame ourselves as young people.
In our country, we have 2 laws which are responsible for cybercrime, and there is another one which has been passed last year, which is very stringent on what you post on the social media networks. Actually, the government is very serious on it. Therefore, if you post in these platforms anything which is contrary to the regulations and the culture of the country, then you will face the consequences. We have seen several musicians who have been banned because of the photos which has been appeared on the social media networks and whatever. And actually, that's what I say, the good and the bad of social media networks and the digital development. But the goods are more than the bads. Let's informal sectors, informal workers, and the youth use those social media networks and digital platforms for development purposes, not the others. Therefore, to me, I don't see the digital platform as a barrier, but how you use. And that's where education is needed. For example, I mentioned those people who are selling spam. You can get something, then you send the money, you receive nothing. Those are short run. They are not sustainable. Sante.
I think it is two weeks past. There is the birthday of our president, and one of the comedian edited the pictures of the president and put his pictures in the face of the president. He put himself, and then the other two edited pictures. What had happened? He was caught by the police. You know. So, but that man is a comedian. They just even sometimes the comedian they draw the different pictures, the structure.
Talent.
Yes,
that
yes.
you have to sell
Yeah.
and get money from it.
But unfortunately, that is what had happened. I think there is a problem of cyber crimes, etc., etc. How do they define?
You see, in marketing, you cannot limit on the techniques. Just like this hotel, the moment you enter, you will find very beautiful girls. Because that's their technique. And the law is clear. The law looks at the intention. Abel gave us an example. If you're selling a watch, if you're selling many watches, then you use maybe a very beautiful girl. Then people begin reacting on the beauty of the lady instead of the watch. It's not your problem. And that works for you. Because if she exists, they will buy the watch. Even myself in my business, if you come to our office, we got a beautiful lady at the reception, but qualified. So I think when it comes to marketing, we shouldn't look at that. Because if you don't use techniques to market, that's why law, there is a word in the law, business law, invitation to treat. I can use something, another different word. When you enter my shop, I will tell you, no, this is what I meant. And there is no case. So I think...
Marketing. You know, we're talking about branding.
Yes.
How are we going to brand ourselves? Because as indicated, if you research a lot, you realize that the youth, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, has got a huge pool of young men and young women who are extremely talented. And they all cannot be absorbed in the formal sector. Employment sector. But they have talents and skills that they need to sell. They don't go on TV to advertise themselves because it's expensive. But they have their phones. They can do marketing on their phones, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and other social media networks.
That's why I told you that when it comes to marketing, that's why even pastors nowadays, when he's on Facebook, he'll post something. Sex is good. So if you look at this word, then you pick interest. As you read, you realize now it's saying God did this and this and this and this. But it started with what? Marketing. So with marketing, you cannot limit the techniques.
Support a colleague who said that education is very key on this matter. So before anything is done, let whoever doing the advertisement be conversant with the law of the land, so that you may not be caught on the wrong side of the law. Another thing, when you go to the Bible, when God appeared to Moses on a certain mountain, the bush was burning and was not being consumed. So that kind of the advertise made Moses to come closer The idea God had behind to make Moses come closer so that he can deliver. So when we are advertising our items, I think if we are aware of the law, then we put it rightly so that it can bring people where the product is and they buy.
So we went to the Directorate of Criminal Investigation. They have a tech department, and they gave us an officer. And we invited these young people in a room like this one. And we just asked the police tech side to tell them what it means when you pick people's contacts in one WhatsApp group without their consent and put it in another platform without their consent. And I can tell you, after the conversation, all the young guys were saying, you know, we hope there's no other officer waiting outside to arrest us, you know? Yeah, so basically, this thing of digitalization, there are some things, of course, we are doing, not only young people, I think all of us. And as he has pointed out, it's because we don't understand the law, and it can lead us to problems. And one thing I recall about this officer from the investigation side, he said that you can never delete what you put on digital platform. The Kenyans, they say they'll wash the phone, right? They flash the phone. And he gave complete presentation PowerPoint to show a flashed phone and how it's recovered. They have the ability to get from the factory day whatever has been on your system. So when you're talking about digitalization, of course, and in the informal sector, I mean, these are issues we have to bear in mind. There are those who think they'll just con around. You know, this digital platform, as he said, has that ability to track you down several years down the line. Unlike other analog platform where you can actually steal and nobody can ever remember you ever existed in that space. But with the digital platform, once you're in that space, you can never delete yourself out of it. And it's a big debate, I think, even in Europe, where people say, I have the right to die digitally. You know, but digital platform somehow denies many of us, if not all of us, the right to die on the platform. So it's just a point I thought I should bring on the table as we have this conversation. And as IREN Growth Pad, we decided that for all the team members that we work with, we have to inform them about these rules so that they don't make such a mistake again. And they have to be aware that you can be arrested if you take somebody's contacts and use them on a platform without their authority. So.